Well then, people, good afternoon. Normally it's evening. Welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. Bit of an impromptu live stream. I wanted to do something a little bit later on, but Andrea's a busy guy, and obviously we've not had an opportunity to speak to Andrea after the weekend. So I wanted to get his thoughts, and of course I'm always going to bring Lockie along because Lockie keeps my spirits up when it comes to Leeds United. And I was actually speaking to my good friend Jonathan, and he sent me a message, and he was like, "You know what, Joe?" He said, "I watched your stream yesterday. The chat was mad, and you've just got to keep your head." And he went, "You've just got to breathe and believe." And I went, "Do you know what? I'm taking that," and that's why I stuck it on the thumbnail. So big up to Jonathan. He'll be watching. Breathe and believe. But Andrea, I've had a chance to speak to Lockie. Not really had a chance to speak to you after the weekend, obviously. Leeds 2, Swansea 2. We all predicted wins. We all thought we'd probably win the rest of our home games, and now we've faltered. We find ourselves in second, same points as Burnley. Where's your head at, mate? How are you feeling with 7 left to go?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you because you adjusted your timeline in order to make me available, to do this one. I'm really, really happy that we got the chance again to do this one, But yeah, my head is still pissed off in a certain sense, after the weekend, because we're bottling it, aren't we? Right now, we're not up to it. We're not up to it, and we deserve to be in third place, because if you are not able to turn up on the day against QPR, against Swansea, teams that are mid-table, and you are far better than them, not just on paper, but the way you're playing, the way you were playing, actually, because in the last few games, the style of football, the level of intensity has massively dropped. And, the result was fair in the end, because we didn't do enough to win. We were lucky to get that goal with Gnonto because of the late sub. He needed to be subbed in far earlier. And Farke, again, unfortunately, sometimes even often, not just sometimes, far too often, the timing of the substitution is too late. He reached the game very late. So it's a collective deception, honestly, because the intensity is not there. There's complacency all around. And when you're top of the league, you need to turn up. You need to feel the hunger, to feel the mentality, to have the mentality that you are chased. You're not the chaser, but you are chased. And the performance at QPR was woeful. We were really, good to get a point there, looking at how the game had turned up. But against Swansea, it was honestly one of the most underperforming performances of the season. So many mistakes, even simple ones. I remember one when Rodon passed the ball to the sideline. There were many miscommunications in the side. Too frantic, too nervous. And honestly, again, the lacks in the squad depth are visible in certain games. Aronson scored in the first minute. But the rest of the game, him and Rothwell, because they are different players. Against the physical side, in the middle, hectic off ball, no time to spawn the ball, to distribute with space. A lot of confusion, a lot of chaos in terms of how the game rolled out, and they got lost into it. So there's many talking points for me. Meslier, of course. Joseph. I think this game is the perfect picture of the negligence in January, and the negligence, honestly, in January too, because honestly, Melia has cost us so many points. I'm gonna say it bluntly. I think there's also some people that say, "Oh, but you shouldn't be over criticizing him." I always said he's not the goalkeeper of the future for Leeds. They chose not to give Darlow a chance. Now is the time to give him another chance, honestly. But people blame Farke for these performances later on. The international break was massive again, because international were absolutely tired in their legs. We forced players coming back from injuries like Ampadu, who had 20 minutes in his legs from the start. And other players, returning from injury, they were not ready. They were not ready fitness-wise. So, yeah, if you had a larger squad like Burnley have, like Sheffield United have, maybe you could have given a proper chance to other players, but you were forced to play Ampadu in this case. So I think it's partly on the manager, but also on the board, honestly, because again, we're in mid-April and we're still talking who is the better number 10 for Leeds United, because we don't have one actually. We don't have a proper player. And for a team that wants to win the league, wants to get automatic promotion, is mental, honestly. It's mental that you're still talking in mid-April. You still have to decide who is the better fit in a certain position, because you don't have one. A position the manager asked to strengthen after Rotter left, and he didn't get one. And they didn't get one too in January when it was Ampadu and Aronson was doing well, but he is a different player. It's not the natural 10 in this side. And then when Aronson drops his level of performance, of course, people say Gnonto should play there, but Gnonto too is not the proper 10 for this side. So yeah, honestly, I'm really confused. I'm really confused, to be fair, Joe.
Thank you, mate. No, I think that's great. You've touched on so many points, and before I do go over to Lockie, I guess where are you in terms of your confidence then? Because obviously you've gone through there and mentioned a lot of issues that we have: squad depth, managers' reluctance to make changes. There's plenty of.
Yeah.
There's a saying, I don't know if it's the same in Italy, but, all your chickens come home to roost, like, all at the same time. And it almost
Yeah.
All the problems that Leeds United have are all happening at the same time and definitely at the wrong time. Are you confident, Andrea, that we can arrest this slump? Because that's what it is now, isn't it? It's a slump. We're actually lower in the form table than Luton, who we play at the weekend. So it just shows how poor we've been since them two great results back-to-back against Sunderland and Sheffield United. So do you think... I guess where I'm at is, mate, for us to have a chance, he has to make some changes. I think that's where my head's at. But yeah, what about you? Where you at confidence-wise?
Well, actually, I did a simulation this morning, of the league table calculator when you can put the results. I think we did that in the past too. And I didn't look at the table while I was trying to guess, I was putting what I think the results will be in the next fixtures. Then I looked at the table and we finished second. But in my head, I'm not that confident, honestly, because it is so similar to last season, honestly, at the minute. So similar, so many similarities. Didn't strengthen in January, only got Conor Roberts last season. Then you had injuries, you had the Welsh players coming back from international duty, and their mentality was different, was switched off, because they had that defeat with Poland took a toll on them. You had players injured or not around 100% with fitness levels. There's so many similarities right now. International break again. The lack of adaptability in this system. So honestly, I think Luton and Borough will be massive to determine where we'll be in at the end of the season. I think Burnley has some tough fixtures too. Sheffield United haven't, on the other hand, for me, looking at their schedule. I think, of course, Burnley, Sheffield United will be massive, but if they draw, honestly, I don't know. If there's a draw there, honestly, I think it will benefit both teams in a certain way at that stage of the season, because I think I'm not confident, like I said, in going to Luton and then we have Borough. Yeah. So I'm not confident at the minute, because the level of form and the level of football is dropping. I was really surprised to see Ampadu starting. He started great, but after 10 minutes he was finished. He had no fitness. Why? Because he was out for so long. And after the international break, he starts. He needs time to, one thing is playing football in training sessions, but game time and playing in an actual game is different. And after 20 minutes, he was finished because he had no fitness. He is massive for us. He's the best midfielder that we have. He's the the balance of the team completely between switching from the defensive phase to the attacking phase. But I was surprised, and there is, and then we go back to the squad depth, because he decided to play a number 6, Ampadu, and a number 8, Rothwell. But the number 6, Ampadu, was returning from a long injury. Then, if he's not ready to play 90 minutes, play Grujev. But I think he decided not to play him because he was coming back from international duty. But other players like Solomon, who was not performing well recently because, again, with fitness, he looks really, really tired. And in terms of focus too, his decision-making, I think, is affected by his by the fact that he's really, really tired fitness-wise. He started him and he played almost 90 minutes. So honestly, and I don't know where we're at right now. I don't know what the best 11 is right now, because there are so many question marks on fitness, on the level of fitness of certain players. Again, and even in the squad, because again, Joseph came on, but again, we put too much weight on a player in his first full season. We needed to get out in January, take the pressure out of Joseph, and get another number 9. I was looking at the other teams, in January. Again, it's not just because we remember what was said in January, in early February by the majority of the fan base. I think it's fair to say we are first. We have no need to strengthen the team, but we are first. The team is already good. We already have great talent. Yes, but it's not about talent. It's about numbers. It's about numbers. If you have players who pick up an injury, if you have players who drop off in terms of fitness because they are overplayed. And right now, I think, for example, Solomon is overplayed and he's been affected by that. His level of form,
Yeah, and look, in them positions, Lockie, we can have no excuses because the manager has had options there. He has got options on either side of the wing. Also, as well, like, we've been quite lucky, really, with injuries. Because imagine we'd have got an injury to a Rodon, an injury to a Pirro. Like, we'd already be out of the fecking race. Let's be honest.
And that's bad. We shouldn't be in that position. And I agree, Joe. I mean, I've said I want Nonto to start at the weekend, and he should, because he's played well enough to do it, and this is how it works. He's shown heart, desire, and a bit of quality when he's come on in the last 2 games, and that's what I need. And he looks ready, so I'd start him. I honestly don't care which winger for. Honestly, I don't. I'd just play him. I think he's been excellent. But I agree. You're right. One Rodon injury. Who's going there?
Yeah.
But genuinely, Gulavog, like,
Ampadu.
Well, yeah, that's it. We've got an injured Ampadu back there. And I think the Ampadu one is interesting because I think what Farker thinks was going into that Swansea game, you could kind of play half-ready Ampadu and get through it. Do you know what I mean? So then coming into the Luton game, would be a bit more fit. He could play a bit longer, physical game. Ampadu's a bit more fit. I think that was his thinking. But what happened was Ampadu didn't have as long as they thought he did in his legs. And after about 10, 15 minutes, he looked visibly done, to be honest. Especially off the ball. I thought him and Rothwell were just constantly playing in the same places as each other. It was bad.
I thought the midfield was really bad. Like, the way we built up our attacks, I mean, used to know more than this and me, but it just felt like we totally negated the midfield. We were just going direct.
We had 2 things. It was Rodon went long, which I don't actually blame him for. He had no options. Or the other one was we went into Rothwell. But what Rothwell did, and I mentioned this in the chat, I was speaking to Andre about it, it was annoying because he'd get it in a decent space. But instead of turning out and going down the left, he turned back into the right where all the players are. No one was getting on the ball, turning out and looking out the other side. We were all trying to play down one compact line of the right side, practically all the game. And it put until the second half where we actually started to spread it to the other side and we got chances from it. It were really confusing me. I didn't understand why we weren't doing that in the first half. And I agree, like, this is it for me, right? Say Farker changes the goalkeeper, puts Darlow in, plays Nonto, right? They're the changes. They're in. Even stretch it to Ramazani, because a lot of people rely their entire life on Ramazani. So say Ramazani plays, Nonto plays, Darlow plays. There's still zero guarantee that any of them players will do enough to win that game, Because even though Meslier made their mistakes, all the other 10 players were also bad. That's a worry for me. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
There was not really a player that I looked at, went, oh, he's ready, he's up for it. Until
That
Nonto
stood
came on
out. Yeah.
and scored almost instantly.
Is that mental fatigue, or is it exhaustion, like fitness levels? I don't think it is fitness levels.
Well,
Is it
For
more
some-
mental?
I have a little bit of sympathy for the international lads because they
Yeah.
two or three of them literally got back 2 or 3 days before. They've not really had recovery. That does affect it. But there's a lot of players there. But even Bogle looked a bit off it. Rothwell, I know people said Rothwell was good. I thought he was okay. But even he looked a bit off it. He weren't driving with it like he usually does. Pirot as well, not being on international duty, looked off it. It's an entire squad thing. I think they're definitely feeling the pressure. And you will. And that's normal. That I'm not saying it isn't. But this is where it comes down to it now. When you feel the pressure, it really comes down to how much do you really want this? Because there's not a chance a team that is really serious about winning this league loses to Swansea in the situation we're in. Having scored in the first minute, there's not a chance we should have drawn that game. I know it's mistakes, but even then, the squad weren't good enough. Whether if we play back like that without mistakes, we probably don't win a lot of games. It's not good enough, and they need to take a long hard look at themselves and take the finger out their arse, Joe. To be honest.
Yeah, and look, Joe. There's another thing. I think we were talking about it post game. Me and Lockie. The squad is full of nice lads. Remember the Prime series with Tottenham when Mourinho says, I think talking to Son or Lloris, and he says, you're too nice lads. They are too nice. There's no warriors right now. In terms of there's players who are physical, okay, but in certain games, in this stage of the season where you decide the league, March and April, you need not to be nice. You need aggressive players. You need players who can stand up for a teammate. You need players who can calm down, that can muster the troops in these moments, because QPR and Swansea can turn out to be at the end of the season massive if we don't go up, because those are drop points. Absolutely. The only problem again is who is this leader of the team? Who is the player carrying the others through these moments?
So obviously Friday night, Sheffield United arguably have their best performance in a long time. They win 3-1 against Coventry. And like Jamie's mentioned here, I listened to the Championship Check-In podcast with Benjamin Bloom and Sam Parkin. And Sam Parkin said Burnley had played their best 45 minutes in the first half against Bristol City for a long time and could have had more than the one they got. So why is it that them two are at the business end, when it matters, are putting in top performances, and we are? What is it? I can't put my finger on it, because
honestly, Joe, I think there's many things. I think one thing I will question on Daniel Farke, because apparently we never do it. So I do. What is he like? Has he got an angry streak in him? Do you know what I mean? Because you got to realize at Norwich, this team were very good, very well balanced.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing on the pitch. They'd figure their own. They had a lot of leaders in that team. That's what we don't have. We have more talent, but they had a lot of leaders. So they'd figure it out on the pitch. They'd figure out how to win. I feel like this team needs that loud voice. And do we have any players that are that? Do we have that person who's going to be really honest? Do you know what I mean? Like, this was my problem when we lost the likes of Cooper and Dallas and all that. Those were the men that would do that. They'd stand up and say, what is going on here? The best thing about the Bielsa team for me was the personalities in it. Even if the players were great on Alioski, man, even if he were in the Championship,
we were dirty.
He were ace though, wasn't it?
We were dirty. We were dirty.
Click, and then Mateus Click doing what he did, and then you'd have Calvin Phillips snapping people and telling them to get up. Like, this is what you need to win a title. You can't just be nice. You can be really good at football, which we are, and in the middle of the season went on an unbelievable run. And we're still on an all right run if you extend it. It's not terrible, but the last 5 or 6 games, when the pressure's changed and you can't really play football anymore, teams are really putting it up against you. That's where you need that grit. And this is what I said about Burnley. They can go 1-0 up and win the game because they've got that. Sheffield United can win a game 3-0 and not play well because they've got that. We don't. We rely only on good football. And I think we're missing that personality or a few personalities in there that when the game's a bit crap, it's not really working, they just smash someone and they tell the lads, this is what it is. Because not only the player, but the crowd would love that. The crowd at Ellen Road needs that, I think.
Yeah, we do.
We're all right with the football, but we need someone in there that's just being horrible. Do you know what I mean? It's I'm not saying like a bad player that's just being sensible with it, but someone that loves the crowd, and we had that before. And yeah, like Andre said, these are good lads. But are they mean? Do you know what I mean? Sorry, Andre, go on, mate.
No worries, because you know that the timing in Italian is different to English, so sometimes I don't know if you're still talking or not. so sorry, Loki. No, that's another thing that we were talking about. I think it's just a little detail, but I think it's important. You know, the crowd at Ellen Road sings about click scoring goals, Berra, all these old chants again. They're still attached to the past, you know. Even when we're winning, you hear chants about Berardi, Click, Pablo. You know, you don't hear chants apart from Ampadu probably, and the Firpo one because he's catchy. But you don't hear, even when we're winning, chants about the current players. Why they are singing about Click, about Pablo rarely now, but mainly Click and Berra every game basically, because Berra was a warrior. Berra was not the best player. It was very dirty in a certain sense, you know, in a positive sense, of course. But he understood what this badge is about, you know, what this crest is about, what this shirt is about. So that's why they're singing for him. You need the Berardis now to step in, because we are not in a good position. I'm sorry. I'm really livid, honestly, because I think a lot of people were talking like in the past week, like we already won the league. We had already won the league. We already up. There was too much complacency around the place. I really hope it's not the same at Top Arch, honestly. It was not the same at Top Arch, honestly, because we know that this league is not easy. We were top last season after that win, you know, at Ellen Road, and then we bottled it basically. And now the story is repeating. And now the legacy of these players, because the majority of these players are the same as last season. That's already a motivation for them, because their legacy at Leeds is on the line, because they have to fear and battle against a ghost crumbling down from on their backs, you know, from behind them. It's the ghost of last season again, of repeating it. And last season everybody was crying, was shattered at Wembley. Do we want to see that again? Okay, if we don't get the automatics, it's already a failure. Looking at the squad,
I'll be gutted, man. Honestly, I'll be so good. What are we gonna do? Like, I can't. Like, we've seen, obviously, the accounts come out. Listen, I'm not an accountant. I struggle to pay my own bills, let alone look at that. But what we can see is that, obviously, if Leeds United didn't go up, which we already know anyway, there will have to be a lot of players sold. The wage bill will have to come down massively.
There's one
we can't afford. What's that? Sorry, mate.
If we lose all the players, there's one thing we can do.
Bielsa.
Yeah, imagine we went top last season, actually. We had the squad already. Somerville, Rotter, Archie Gray. You had the players to build a foundation like Brighton and Forest did. Okay, Forest changed basically all the squad, you know, but in the first season, they retained some of their old players from the Championship. But look at Brighton, look at the Brentford, for example, you know, those sides. They don't have the history of Leeds, but they went top and they already had a core from the Championship, and they built on that core. Now we had to restart from scratch. And if we don't go up this season, imagine that. We'll have to sell again other players. And
then you have to compete with Leicester, Ipswich, Southampton,
Saints,
Wrexham. I think Sunderland will be better next season. You know, all these different permutations. Coventry might be better under
Birmingham too.
Birmingham, yeah, bloody hell, Birmingham. Yeah. So next year is going to be so tough, boys. I think what's really worrying me the most as well, like, obviously Luton at the weekend, I'm shitting myself because it's Luton. It's a lunchtime kickoff. It's down south. It's just a horrible fixture for us personally. And then I look at this moment in time, bar Good Friday or Easter Monday, whenever it is, when them two play each other, I don't know where they're dropping points. Burnley need one goal and they win. Do you know what I mean? That is all they need. They've lost 2 games all season. I think, are we asking too much? If we, because a lot of people keep telling me they'll drop points, and I hear it, but then I also think, well, will they though? Like, I don't know. I feel like
as well. We're acting like we won't. We probably will as well.
Yeah, this is a thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
I honestly, Joe, this is not really realistic, but I think we've got to win every game. That's got to be our mentality for me.
Yeah,
we've got to
win.
win.
Yeah.
Even if we're in a situation where we get a point and let's say they lose, so we kind of get. I want 3 points. Give us that gap, so we're actually a bit more comfortable. Because, and again, I do like these players. They're really talented, and I enjoy watching them. But I'm not sure in these situations that they're the type of players that are best suited. Like I look at, like, again, talking about Sheffield United and Burnley, they've got them in there. They've got the Brownhills, you know, they've got the
100%.
Vinicius's. I know Vinicius injured now, but they've got Peck in there who just loves to snap someone.
Well, Gus Hamer's a massive shit out as well.
Yeah, they all
and
are.
There's another thing, Lockie Brownhill, Ahmed Odzic, all these kind of players. They already done it in the past. They already won automatic promotion, so they know what it takes. We don't have anyone who did it. No. Apart from Strauch, who was just a fringe player back then, you know.
Do you know one thing one thing that genuinely will worry me if this happens, and it's not happened yet. Say the Meslier stuff, if Farke comes out in the press conference, whether he starts or not, but if Daniel Farke says, or Meslier has an interview and he says, it's all right, it don't bother me, I'm confident. That mistake should bother you, because that's what it means. That's what it should mean. You should look at that and go, that's my fault. I know that sounds harsh, but it should. It shouldn't be it's fine, we'll go again. No, that should bother you, because there's a lot on the line, and I hope they understand that mistakes they make or decisions they make have consequences, because there's 40,000 people watching there that pay a lot of money. A mistake like that isn't good enough. And this is what I mean. It should affect Meslier in a way. It should affect him, and therefore should be dropped, because I don't want a player that is either not confident or deluded to think that he is confident and I'm fine. He's not fine. No fine keeper makes mistakes like that. He needs to come out of it for me. I want confident players, Joe. That's why I need Nonto to start.
If we lose at the weekend, is it a case of gearing up for the playoffs at that point?
I think after Boro, honestly.
Yeah, these next two, massive, massive. What's a decent points return? Is 4 a decent return?
No, not for me.
No, you have to get 6.
We need 6.
Yeah.
We need a good run. Back-to-back wins will be huge at this point. Back-to-back wins with then what will it be, 5-6 games to go is massive, innit?
Yeah,
against Luton and Borough as well, both away, right? That'd be great. I'd be confident then. But if we kind of win against Luton and then get a draw against Borough, I'd still be like, no.
Do you know if he goes with the same 11?
Yeah,
we will get beat. You know.
Yeah,
I think
you know what.
Best we can hope for is a draw. I genuinely think he needs to change it. He does need to change it.
I think Tanaka will start. I think
he has to.
Will start.
Yeah,
and I think Nonto will start. I'm honestly not sure.
Nonto has to play.
No idea.
He has to.
Nonto,
but
Tanaka, 100% have to start.
Yeah, absolutely. But it won't happen. But I even think he needs to change the system, because the number 10 position is not working. It's turning out to be the not an advantage for us like it's always been in a Farke system, but an obstacle to us. This debate about the number 10, and again, we don't have a natural one. I think for the football that Farke wants to play, Aronson is more suited because he's a midfielder. Gnonto is a winger. I'll start Gnonto at the weekend, but on the left instead of Solomon, who looks really tired, honestly. Gnonto deserves to start, 100%. He deserves to start, but play him in his best position on the left. I think that where he played his best football has always been on the left, Gnonto. So I think right now, Aronson is not performing well. Gnonto, I think, play him on the left, James on the right. Then you have to play Pirou, of course, in the number 9, all the play. But it won't happen. But I think he should consider, but he'll never do it because he has no adaptability, Farke, to different formations. But I think in this kind of game, like Luton, a 4-3-3 really suits us, you know. Like Grujev, because we've seen that he's not ready to start from the beginning, and he doesn't have 90 minutes in his legs. Maybe he has more. He has 40 this time. Last game he had 20. Like Grujev, Tanaka, and Rothwell, you have a balanced, double-faced midfield where you have Grujev as the 6, and you have two players who we all know that they can get forward. They are box-to-box players. They can get forward, Tanaka and Rothwell. And then you play Jonto on the left, James on the right, and Pure up front. Then we'll see if he wants to play Philip or Byram on the left. Then it will remain unchanged, honestly, the rest of them. Apart from Melli, of course, Darlow absolutely needs to start 100% because, honestly, Melli is 24. Melli is 24. He's 24 years old. He's not 17. He's not 18. Everybody talks like he's a young keeper, like he's 18 or 19. No, he's 24. He's 24. The first season he had at Leeds was 2019, 2020. So it's his 6th season with Leeds United. He's not performing. He needs to be changed like all the other players who are not performing. If a player doesn't perform on the wing, he loses his place and another player comes in. If the goalkeeper is not performing, he loses his place, especially when you have a goalkeeper who's playing all the games for Wales now. This thing about Darlow, honestly, is mind-boggling because he won the league with Newcastle as their starter. He's still a good goalkeeper, yet a lot of people...
Bro, he had a season in the Premier League with them as well, the season after.
He hasn't lost his touch all of a sudden. When you don't play often, okay, you need to get back to your confidence, but he's playing for Wales now. We see what he can do with Wales, But everybody judges him based on one game, the Soul for One, last season. He never got a second chance. There were other games, okay, like the one with Boro. But honestly, he's playing with Wales. He's gaining confidence. You have to give him a chance. He's not a newcomer. He won the league with Newcastle. He is experienced. You know what he needs to do.
It's mad when you look at this graphic as well, and I still honestly I don't know how Opta have still. It must be due to the fixtures that we have comparative to them. That
it
can be the.
It won't have Leeds United DNA in there, right?
No, exactly. That's sort of being. It is crazy though, isn't it? If you look. On the 1st of March, we were almost fucking 100%. I think it was 99% or whatever it was. And then a month later, we dropped that at 74%, man.
Do you know what I will say, though? I think look, we might be terrible. I'm not saying we won't be, but our dip might have been early. Last year it was a little later. Yeah. It was the last 6 or 7. Now it's kind of just before that. So maybe it's just gone earlier, and now we can have a decent 7 or 8 last games. Probably not, but I'm glad it's now. If we're going to have it, I'm glad it's now as opposed to the last 6, because that'd be even more agonising. But yeah, honestly, this is why I just wish I could just get in there and tell them what are you doing? No, what you doing? There's a lot of
Steve Bracknell.
It's these fans. They love this. They love these players. They do. They want to see them perform. When these guys run forward and they run at players and they beat them 1v1 and we pass and move, we're excellent. Do you know what I mean? The fans love it. It's great to watch. We battered the team 7-0 not long ago. Nothing's changed since then. Yeah, our players are more tired, but so is the opposition. It's the mental side of it. Get over it. The reward is the Premier League. That is, forget playing for Leeds a minute. Their wages are going up. Their opportunities are going up. Their lives are getting better. This is massive, and it shouldn't be pressure. It should be excitement. You've got an opportunity to do it. I don't see. Go do it, man. Go do it, honestly. Yeah.
Andrea, what did you make to Farke's 100% we're going to be playing Premier League football comment?
Completely out of the context after that game, honestly. He shouldn't have said that, to be fair, because you need to handle better the communication, because when you just dropped to 3rd place, the fans are fuming, and you go out and say we'll be playing in the Premier League 100%. First, you know that I am superstition. I don't like that for that reason first. But that aside, honestly, it's okay. But the first thing I think about as a fan is, okay, but we'll be playing 100% in the Premier League, but the players didn't show that they want to play in the Premier League next season. They
They
were
show it, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't show it. You know, they struggle against Swansea, and I agree with Locke. I think it's a mix of them both. You know, the mental side of it and the fitness side, because even the opposition is tired, like Locke said. But the problem is that the opposition, like Burnley, Sheffield United, back in January, we were saying we are one of the shortest, if not the shortest squad in the league. So
22 players, not 23
yeah,
players.
23
Smallest in the
players,
league.
the smallest squad in the league. And there were players who, even when they are not performing, they play like they have a guaranteed place in the side. So, like I said, it goes for the goalkeeper, but it goes for the other positions. You know, if a player is not performing, change him. You need to try to give other players an opportunity, because honestly, the fact that we forced Tampa to get back, I think they could have seen that he was not ready to start during the week.
Should have played him at the end of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
100%.
he just looked at Swansea, said, "Do you know what? With Byron, with Ampadu, I'll have enough. I'll get through this fixture." And obviously, it didn't work out that way. What have you made, lads, to what seems to be a different tactic with how teams are playing Leeds United now? We don't seem to face a low block as much anymore, but teams are pressing us really high, pressing us aggressively, and we don't seem to be able to deal with it. We definitely couldn't deal with it on the weekend. So why do you think that's changed?
Teams need wins, Joe. They need wins. Ones at the bottom, particularly. You know, they need wins, and they want to end. Everyone wants to end the season well going into next year. You know, it's important to build momentum, but teams have seen a weakness. Clearly, they probably found through their analysis that we can be got at. There is spaces to exploit us. We can pressure certain parts, and we can get in behind them because there is gaps that are exploited at times. And this is it. This is it now. The players were complaining earlier on in the season when all the teams were sitting low blocks, saying only one team's here to play football. Now others are here to play football. So that you've got what you wanted. They were complaining about that earlier on in the season. Now they're doing it. Well, they're playing football now. You've got no excuses then that you were complaining when they weren't. So deal with it. It's football. You know, that's what it is. There's not one way to play. Whether it's a low block or they're pressing you, you've got to deal with it and find ways to get around it. And this is what I'm not having from these guys. Are so talented, but I hated that whole. There's only one team that tried to play and one team that tried to win today. When we didn't win, and I'm thinking, but you didn't win. So if you tried to win, and there's only one team trying to win, and you didn't win, what are you doing? Do you know what I mean? I hate it. There's not one way to play football, Joe. And teams are realizing now, especially teams at the bottom, that want to stay in this league and don't want to get relegated, that we can get at these because we're mentally fragile. And that's a big thing, because they know if they can just get an early goal or they can get set pieces or press high, the crowd will be on the back, their crowd will be up. And they know our players, there's not someone on that team who's going to get them players together. And we're getting exploited with it. That's just what I mean. They're like, Burnley can just go 1-0 up. And then teams know they've lost that. You're not winning that game. I want that back. I want that from us. I want us to go back to where the second we scored, we knew we were going to win that game because we were so dominant. Where's that gone? Where is it? The confidence is zapped. And they've got to find it. I'm not saying they can. I'm not saying they won't. All I'm saying is I've not seen it. And now is the time. They've got to dig deep now. It's that simple. They've got to dig deep. It's going to be tough. But it was never going to be easy. And if they thought it was going to be easy at the start of the season, they went into this too arrogant. It was never going to be easy for the last 10, ever. It never is. Yeah. Look at Leicester and Ipswich last year even. They made it over us, but their last 10 were bad. You know, it's tough.
Yeah. And the fact that Rodon needs to progress with the ball multiple times to break out of their formation, you know, when they're trying to cover, the opposition is trying to cover the pitch, you know, trying to block your effort from the back, tells you that the midfield is not able to create possession, to command the build up. So the center back needs to progress with the ball because of that. And right now, that's the level of football for us, because we are always performed when we had the space for the number 6, or when Ampadu was moving towards the left-hand side, even when he was played as centre-back, when Struijk was injured, you had like him and Grujev or Rotwell. You had another option if the number 6 was blocked, with Ampadu playing from the back. But right now, that's not a viable option, of course. It was never a viable option, was just a temporary one. But it worked because the other teams were not pressing us. They were waiting for us. They were giving us the space. Now they are not giving us the space. Like Joe said, they are not sitting back. After Watford, when we won massively, but if you look at the first 20 minutes of that game, Watford completely figured out how to create us problems, to try to block our efforts from the back, the build-up. They lost the game massively, but the game plan was right, The game plan was right, that one. And honestly, when right now the rhythm, the intensity, they are not high. We are slow in moving the ball around. Center back to center back, like Japstam Reading, move the ball from center back to center back, then gets the ball to the midfield, to the number 6 or the number 8, in this case Rotwell. They don't have anyone in front of them, because they see the only thing they see is bodies of the opposition players. They pass the ball either back to the center back, to the fullback, and the fullback passes the ball, or even directly the number 8, the number 6, to the winger, and then it's 1v1. That's how we play right now. It's really static. We don't have rhythm. We don't have intensity. When you don't have those levels of intensity and rhythm, then you allow the opposition pressing to be effective. And that's how. And even the intensity again, that throw in at the end of the game, that is not a good sign. Honestly, that is not a good sign in terms of the focus of the side. And there's so many individual errors in that. Apart from Melia, the ball goes right under his arm, so that even that is a mistake from him. He could have done much better, because the angle is so tight there. But even Struijk, and I think it was Purple at the other side. Yeah, there's a lot of miscommunication, because Struijk goes towards the ball and Vipotnik goes behind him. There's I don't know, honestly, it's really confusing how we are playing. Honestly, we are completely switched from this to this in 1 week.
You said it, Andre. It's intensity for me. That's what like. Even take Mesley out of it, put Darlow in there, even put Nanto in there, put Tanaka, whoever he put in midfield. I'm still worried, even with them change. If I see them changes, I go, oh yeah. I'm still worried about that intensity, because the way we turned up at Ellen Road just wasn't. I know we scored really early, obviously, but after that, what happened until like I know in fact we were better. Second half we were better, but still not good enough, nowhere near. And do you know what it is? There's little things as well about body language, and when they come out of there, you come out the tunnel here like Ellen Road, they need to look up. Too many of them look down. I know that sounds small, but they've got to look up. You know what I mean? They've got to feel the crowd. They've got to hear it properly. I just feel like they're just in their own little. I don't know. They've got to embrace it. They've got to embrace it and enjoy it, because it's too stressful. Just get your head up, come out proud, listen to the crowd singing your name. I don't know. It's all hype beast stuff, isn't it? But it's true. You've got to feel it, man. This is the club. This is the club they're at.
Yeah, it's going to be
another quick one in midfield too. We don't have a runner. We don't have one with the proper pace. I mean, in the midfield duo, one capable of progressing and getting into spaces with the ball, breaking through spaces, breaking between the lines, to elude the pressing. We don't have one, because they have all of them. Grujev, Ampadu, Tanaka, Rothwell. They all have good vision. They are very good with the ball, but they are playmakers, And even the number 8s, they can progress, but they progress without the ball. You don't have one able to break the pressing and progress through with the ball, eluding the pressing. That's another thing that we are missing in the squad, apart from the number 10 and the backup number 9 for me.
True that. Yeah, it's a nervy time, innit? Like Saturday, Luton, midweek Borough, Preston, 3 games, 9 points.
Go do it.
9 points, probably top of the league. Like, or definitely have a go. But will we do it? That's the thing. It's difficult.
Joe, can I just quickly say, sorry? Like, I protected these players a lot. And because I genuinely think they're excellent. I do think they're really talented footballers. But this bit of the season was always coming. It was always coming. And it's as simple as this now. Whether they go up or not, they're all right. They'll either stay here next year or they'll find a new club, probably higher up. We won't. This is why we need this. As a fan base, we need this. We know what could happen if we don't go up. It's a lot worse for us than it is for them. So this is why we need this now. This is it now. We get the football. We get all that. We know you're excellent footballers. You like to play a certain way. But bring intensity now. Bring grit. Bring determination. Bring the mindset of nothing, you versus the man across from you. I'm going to beat you. You're not better than me. Bring that now. That's what it needs, in my opinion. I don't think beautiful football is going to win us or get us up. I think it's that side of it now.
Yeah. Well, you've got to, got to make it work, haven't we? Holy Ghost says if we want promotion, we need Fark out. Simple. If we were to lose the next two, the calls will be absolutely massive. Yeah. I was thinking about this the other day.
The thing about that, though, is so you'll have, 6 games to go. So realistically, if you get rid of Farker with 5 games to go, you're looking for someone for next year. But what if that person next year isn't available now? Do you get someone in now? Do you go
for them 5 games?
All a mess in it.
You name an interim coach, but in that case, because it's too late.
I think there's a genuine conversation if you lost the next 2 that they might try bring someone in for the last 5.
So if they did, so that'd be my thing. Who and what? Because I get these names. It's not about name. It's about, we saw it in the Prem. Who wants to come to Leeds when they knew the fate was we're going down. This is
bring back big Sam.
The fate is the playoffs. It's weird. It's a weird dynamic. You kind of have to go early or go end of the year, if that makes sense. Because you're just looking for scraps at that point. Because people will go, I don't want to go there. I don't know where you're going to be next year. Because you're going to target managers that are probably going to want Premier League with you, right? 100%. If you lose the playoffs, it's a tough one. I agree, though. Like, there's serious questions if we do, 100%.
If we lost the next 2, I think.
I just don't think the solution is what I'm saying. That's my
I think he'll finish the season. They finished the season either way. The 49ers with Fark. My local side, Reggiana, there's 6 games to go in Serie B. They have just sacked the manager, and they brought in another one who was not in a job since 2022. So there were not many managers available, but he decided to take the side for 6 games. But if he avoids relegation, the contract, which is running till June, basically, gets automatically renewed. So if you were to sack Fark and bring in another one, that manager, like in this example, will want guarantees that if he reaches automatic promotion, he'll have like 2 or 3 2 years contract automatically renewing.
I just think, let's say for example, right, and and I've been thinking about this over the last, I've been doing a lot of thinking. Really, I'm poorly as well, But let's say for example, the manager kept the same lineup, Melier, right, as well, and we have 2 stinkers back to back. I genuinely think they might look at it and say, "Look, we've got 5 games plus playoffs."
So if that's the case, I hope they've got a plan. Is all I'll say. Because
you never know, though, do you? Like, I'm just
no. They might have it lined up.
Right? If you lose these next 2,
Burnley, Sheffield United win them.
It's
done.
Is there any point in going, well, we might as well just give him these 5 and then see if he can do it in the playoffs? Or do you go, do you know what? We've seen this movie before. We've got 5 games. You never know if we'll win all 5. I don't know. I'm just saying hypothetically.
For me, that depends on who is available and who's willing to take the job. Because if your targets for when Farker goes, which they'll obviously have, are predominantly Premier League targets, they're not going to come down until you've won the playoffs. But then you kind of need a manager who's willing to join a championship team that could be in the Prem, but also accept that they might not be, if that makes sense. So that who's going to do that? And then if you do get a manager that's willing to stay in the Championship, but then you end up getting promoted, is that manager then good enough for the Premier League? It's a bit techie. But so I don't know what I'd do. I'm not in that position. But whatever happens, whether
if you lost the next two, I think I'd be.
Whether they go up, whether we go up with Farke or we don't, I just hope that the ownership are very prepared, because if they take weeks and weeks to find replacements, we know what happens then, and we know how bad that can get. So.
I'm glad you mentioned the ownership, honestly, because there's another thing I wanted to touch very briefly. Because the players last season, we started in the season we were relegated. Before we were technically relegated automatically. Victor Horta left, was sacked basically. They parted ways with Horta. So last season, takeover by the 49ers. They start with Nick Hammond as the advisor. Then they bring in Greta Steinson. Then in February, Jordan Miles arrived. There was also Adam Underwood, I think, too. Right now, in the middle of the season, you have Jordan Miles leaving in November. Greta Steinson moving to an higher role for 49ers. I don't know what that role is, honestly, because the 49ers right now, they only have Leeds United. Parag Marat is supposedly involved in a takeover at the Rangers. There were rumors about that. So, like, they are a fund, 49ers Enterprises, so I think in the future they might get, like every other American fund, other teams like AC Milan, they have to lose, for example. There's like City Football Group too. They have Palermo.
Chelsea the same, clearly.
Crystal Palace too, I think. So I think they might look another club. But what matters right now is at top patch, there's a CEO, Angus Kinnear, at Elland Road. The players in a day-to-day basis and the employees of the club, they see on a day-to-day basis a CEO who's going to leave at the end of the season to go to Everton, and they already knew that. The transfer advisor, Nick Hammond, supposedly is going to join Everton too. So you see people at the club who you already know daily that they're not going to be at the club next season. They are moving to the Premier League, to Everton. Then there's another change. Jordan Miles arrives. He's going to be the next, basically the man in charge of the transfer and recruitment for the future. Then he leaves in November, and Alex Davis, who breathes his, of course, because he's at the club. He's been at the club for ages now. Gets his place as head of recruitment. So I think there's this constant reshuffle at the club too, behind the scenes, both in the managerial administration position, like the CEO, the advisor, and the transfer position. That thing has not helped, I think, in a daily basis, because players see that people.
You've got fucking Angus wanting to take fucking Nick Hammond with him to Everton, haven't you?
It's poor, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's poor, really poor.
Middle of the season. We should hear nothing about this. It is poor.
Yeah, it's
is
poor,
is that again arrogance, thinking we've already done it, do you think?
Maybe.
We've already planned, we're good, you can talk to them. It's like just listening to it, like hearing them saying, I'll be at Everton next. What about now? Why are we hearing this? Tell them to wait. I don't know. You know what I mean? I think that's poor.
It's not the best.
Who's committed? Sorry, Andres. Who's committed and focused at Leeds right now? We're going to the Premier League, apparently. Who's seeing that through? I don't. If Angus is going and like, what's going on? Wild.
Yeah, and having worked for a club who's currently now in the second tier in Italy. Right now, we were not in the second tier, but we were in lower side. But seeing with my eyes, because I was at the training ground every day. Despite the fact that I was the head of social media, of course, so I didn't have an effect on the sporting side of it, but you get there to of course, handle the press conferences and all of that. But you see the conversations going on daily between the leaders of the dressing room, the sporting director or the director of football, and the manager. And I can tell you that the manager and the squad, they need a constant presence from the club. And there was this sporting director, it was an advisor technically. He was here in Reggio like once in a month, so the players didn't take him seriously. There was a technical director constantly here, and another one was not here. The players basically, they didn't care about what he said. So right now you have the players they don't know who they are talking to, if this person is going to be at the club in the future and play a part or not, because they know for certainly that the CEO is not going to be there. Maybe Hammond is not going to be here at Top Arch. They had Jordan Miles at the club till November. Then he left, and another person, Alex Davis, took his place. So the manager and the players, they need a strong presence from the club. And it looks like there's going to be a reshuffle at the end of the season. So you don't know who's staying and who's not staying, who's going to play a part behind the scenes, who's not going to be a part of this plan next season. Then you have also the 49ers link with not the 49ers, Parag Marat, of course, specifically link with a takeover at Rangers, so we can talk about the number 9 and the number 10, but there's also the talk about the 49ers are gonna extend their network or not. We're gonna have a new CEO who's gonna be in charge of the transfer right now and next season. So there's not just a reshuffle on the side, about the number 10, but also behind the scenes, it looks
need like a new sporting director and everything, right?
Crazy, man.
Yeah, one person, not too many, just one.
Like Andrea said, obviously I don't know the ins and outs of the club, and I never will because I'm not that smart. But you got Parag trying to get a move through to Rangers, obviously still Leeds, but you know what I mean, right? So he's got that going on. You got Angus, who's planning on moving to Everton. You've got Nick Hammond, who's apparently planning on moving to Everton. You've got Greta Steinson, who's now up top doing some other stuff. Who's the face of Leeds? Who's representing just Leeds? Who's just focused on Leeds? It's a bit wild, isn't it? It's a bit
same. It's exactly the same as under Andrea Hrapsane. They're all as bad as each other, man. I'm telling you.
Sampdoria are facing relegation to the 3rd tier for the first time in their history. By the way, he's not involved anymore, but it didn't turn out good when he was involved in the takeover there at the end, because they're facing relegation.
Yeah. Right, folks, we will bring it to a close. Big up to everyone for watching. Just want to remind folks tonight in the Content Creator Cup, myself and Max will be picking our teams in a draft style video, 1 for 1. I've got my preferred picks in my mind, so hopefully I'll be able to get what I want. And Max, well, I don't want Max to get what he wants. I want all the best players, obviously. So we will see you on Joe's channel. I think it's been streamed on mine and Max's at the same time, so for maximum exposure. So we'll get that out there as well. So 6 o'clock or 10 to 6. Tickets announced, I believe, and also we'll be picking the teams so you know who's on what side and who you're going to be supporting and who you want to lose, etc. So yeah, join us for that. Make sure you go check out Lockie Leeds and Andrea over on Twitter. We are grateful that you watch this, and hopefully, final word on Sunday, we'll all be going, do you know what? We've fucking done it, and they've dropped points, and we're going to be all right, but we'll wait and see. If not, you know what the mad thing is? I was just thinking honestly, the mad thing is, right, if he was to lose the next 2, considering how many Fark-outers there's been in the content creation space all season, wouldn't surprise me if I'm the fucking first person to say it. That's the laughable thing about this all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I say, 2 games, I'll go, nah, that's it. We've got 5 games saved the season. Get someone else in. Fuck it. And all them people.
Then they'll all start. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, 100. This is what's funny about it, innit? Really. Because I can sort of understand it a little bit now. But when they've been doing it when we were unbeaten in Feb and that, I just didn't get it. But yeah, it'll probably be. Yeah, it is what it is. Anyway,
you'll get called flip flop again, Joe. Even though people wanted him out months ago, but never said anything.
This is so funny. Maximum respect for the comment, but the comment, those ghosts you are talking about are fueled by you, and then the comment behind is a user called Oli Ghost. So the ghost disappeared.
Definitely. I've got a doctor's appointment at 2:30, and the presser's at 2:30. So I don't know if I'll be back in time, but I will listen to the presser. So the presser reaction might not be like straight after; it might be like half hour after or something like that. But it's going to be a big one tomorrow's, because he's going to be asked about the 100% thing. He's going to be asked about the goalkeeper. He's going to be asked about Nonto. So there's going to be loads in tomorrow's presser. So it'll be, I'm looking forward to it anyway. And then we can start to concentrate on Luton a little bit more. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you on a bit. Bye.